All right. So yeah, we did not hit last week. Was Houston? You had Houston. I had the Falcons. I think I had two.
Houston somehow gave up 28, the most points in NFL history without allowing an offensive
Yeah,
touchdown.
nuts.
Two defensive touchdowns and a special teams touchdown. Like, come on. I was like, there's uncertainty with Deshaun Watson. He might look really bad. And the Texans are so bad that they're like, I don't care how bad Deshaun Watson looks. We're going to give the Browns 3 non-offensive touchdowns.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Where are you going this week?
All right, let's go with the Houston. No, I'm just kidding. Let's go with the I'm going to go with the Chargers at home against the Dolphins. Dolphins staying out on the West Coast for their second straight game. I actually see some parallels to last week with the 49ers. The Chargers don't have as good of a defense, but they have a much better quarterback. And you can attack this Dolphins team with backs and short passes. That was one of the things I was telling you I was worried about with the Dolphins defense against the 49ers. And Purdy came in and did it. He went 25-37, moved the ball. I think Herbert could do that here. And it looks like Corey Linsley's going to play. That's massive. He is just, he's probably the second most important player on that offense. When he's not in there, the offensive line completely falls apart. Zion Johnson's also day-to-day. I think he's going to go. We'll see if Trey Pipkins goes. Not as important as Lindsey and Johnson in the middle. Mike Williams might even go. And the Chargers' pass defense is much better than the run defense, which is important against Miami. And it's just Justin Herbert as a dog, catching over 3.5. I see value in the number. It's down to 3. I took some 3.5 little juice during the week. If it gets back to 3.5, I would take it. I would still take it at 3. This would have been one of my picks at 3.5 in the Sunday 6-pack, but I like the money line too. Chargers defense in the red zone has been much better than Miami's in the red zone. And like, I just haven't fully bought in. Some people have to the Tua train. His numbers are so great, but like we went over last week, he, 4 straight games against 4 of the worst defenses in the NFL. And a lot of it's scheme. Like a lot of it, you got to give credit to, and they also have 2 ridiculous wide receivers. But you also have your Jaron Armstead has been one of the best left tackles in the NFL. He's DNP today. We'll see if he goes. Your right tackle's on IR. Waddle got banged up last week. We'll see if he's 100% go. Obviously, a lot of his game is just being able to fly. He came back in the game last week and just wasn't as effective. But you have great receivers and great scheme. But you also were playing. Just really, really poor defenses. So the Chargers have some dudes on the back end. I'm sure Miami will be able to run it. They'll be able to hit some explosive plays. I think this will be a little high-scoring game. I don't hate the over, but Herbert, desperation mode, should have a healthier offensive line here. Keenan Allen's back. You got Palmer, looks like DeAndre Carter. He has some tight ends, Eckler, a lot of the things that the Dolphins struggle to defend. We'll see if Mike Williams gives them some deep threats. And I think this will be I think Tua looked better this week, but I'm still not all the way bought in. Like he had guys open last week too, and he just wasn't hitting them.
It was tough for me because that's what I said. Like obviously, my cap of the defense, didn't account for a backup quarterback being able to come in and still shred them. But I thought the scheme was pretty great. I mean, you had that first play touchdown. That was just a great design play with give him the angle. By
the way, that's what I mean with Tua. Like his numbers are ridiculous because there's a lot of those plays where like you could have made that throw. I could have made that throw where it's like you have a ridiculous fast receiver and a great...
That was Sherfield.
that was Sherfield, who also was like he hit. I forget what miles per hour he hit, but something insane.
Yeah, he was gone.
But yeah, that's and then you get credit for an 80-yard touchdown. It's like the whole first half to his numbers still looked good because he had an 80-yard touchdown throw, even though, and there were so many open receivers in the flats on the outside, and he wasn't even getting hit that much because he was getting the ball out. They were getting the ball quick, and he just wasn't. So we'll see if he's like a little gun shy or if that carries over this week, if his confidence is a little shaken. But we'll see. He's an interesting case study, and I think everyone wants to be like he either sucks or he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. And it's okay to be in the middle for now, and we'll see. That's kind of where I'm at. I was not in the camp of everyone just like being like he's the MVP. He's so great. Like, look, if you put Lamar Jackson, can we get Lamar Jackson, fucking Tyreek Hill, and and Jalen Waddle in Baltimore. And
No,
some of that play
seem
calling
to
and
never do
Jesus.
that.
So a
Straight
lot of
away
it hasn't been on Tua. But we'll see what he can do this week, and then we'll learn a lot about him in the postseason. It doesn't everyone doesn't have to either be a bust or a Hall of Famer right away, especially like this early. So we'll see. But yeah, I think there's some value in the Chargers, especially with some of the way that their health is trending. Most importantly, on the offensive line, they just need Lindsley in there because it all falls apart without him.
What? Do you have any idea? Because I'm pretty sure Sharps hammered the Dolphins on this one. I couldn't. I mean, hammering a favorite like -3 on the road, it just seemed odd to me. Any idea why like people seem to love the Dolphins so much? Like
I think it's going to come back. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it snuck up to 3.5. They're still juiced 3.5, and then came back down. I mean, Tua got upgraded, but I don't think anyone thought he was really hurt last week. I think that people, some of the metrics for the Chargers look really bad, and some people have them rated way lower than I do. I mean, this is still a team that covered their +3.5 at Kansas City, +5.5 at home against Kansas City recently, covered both of those games. It's the Chargers. They're going to play to whoever they play against. They're going to be in close games for the most part. They've had so many injuries on offense. They're playing without receivers for a lot of weeks, without Lindsley, which just ruins their offensive line. So I think that their metrics are a lot worse than, and I also think they don't call efficient plays. But I think that the way that they call plays with their short passes is conducive to this particular matchup. But there are groups out there that are just really high on Miami and expect them to bounce back here. But I don't know. But last week against the 49ers, the Dolphins didn't. The 49ers ended up taking money. So
yeah,
and then Tua looks awful. So yeah, I was confused as well. I would be shocked if this doesn't close at 3.
Yeah,
it depends on injury news. Like Armstead and like if Lindsley gets ruled out and Armstead gets ruled in, that's huge on the offensive line for both. But Armstead was a DNP today, and Lindsley practiced limited. They say he's trending in the right direction, concussion protocol. Johnson was day to day, and then what Mike Williams is day to day in practice. So Callahan was day to day too. He's important in the slot, especially in this matchup. So we'll see. They don't have any defensive linemen left, but I mean, who cares? If you want Miami to run the ball all day, they probably do it with some success. But I think you'll take that if you're the Chargers.
Yeah, it was just odd to me. I think it was something like 13 sharp moves on the Miami.
Yeah, I agree.
I was surprised by that too. It seems odd. Usually you see the Sharks on like a home dog, especially with one with a good quarterback. So yeah, it just kind of caught my eye. But maybe sometimes these things kind of switch around. If
setting it up for later.
Yeah. So that's something to monitor. I'm going to go with Cleveland here at +205 for mine, and it's kind of simple. Joe, like you mentioned, Joe Burrow 0-4 against the Browns, and 0-4 against the Browns, who have never had a quarterback as talented as this. Now, obviously, he looked horrible last week, but that's kind of why we're taking a money line dog here. I mean, the Bengals are 17-3 against the spread their last 20. It's no point betting against them on the spread at this point, because I looked at that +6. I'm like, probably a little bit high, but really, if you're gonna go in with the Browns, just go money line here. But
yeah, and I think that the price, I always talk about it too. Like the price ticked up. The Bengals won, but the Browns won. But I think that they got downgraded because Watson didn't look good.
Yeah.
But now because you're getting a better price, and then there's such a wide range of how much better will Watson look this week, and that's increased variance, which is what we want with our money on underdogs.
Yep, and I mean, could even be. I know Cincinnati hasn't beat Cleveland in a while, but it could be a letdown spot. Coming off that win against the Chiefs, that's always when Cincinnati gets up for. So yeah,
They've had 2 big games in a row. Like they went to Tennessee, they had to win that game, and that was a hard fought game, and then Kansas City right down to the wire. So yeah, they could come out a little flat. I could see that.
All right, so if you parlay Chargers +144 with Browns +205. It's about a 6.5x payout. 100 gets you back 744, including your entry fee. So hopefully we can get back on the winning side of these.